In this video I will show you how to get a free, yes that's completely free forever, Ubuntu machine. It is from a major cloud provider, worth about $200 billion, so is not likely to disappear anytime soon. On screen you can see the finished product, which is completely separate from my local PC and network, so cannot slow down either, and because it is not on my local network, you can access it from anywhere in the world. And if I open Stacer, a graphical performance monitor, you can see it comes with a massive 4 CPUs, 24 GB of memory and almost 200 GB of disk storage. If I open a text editor on the Ubuntu instance, and a notepad file on my local Windows PC, I can copy the contents of the local PC file, up to the Ubuntu instance, even though it is running hundreds of miles away in a data center somewhere. So after this short introduction I will show you how it was all done. If you key into Google search, the words, Oracle Cloud Free Tier, and then select the first link, it will take you to this page. If I just scroll down, I can show you what is included in this always free offer. Yes, there are extra services that are available for 30 days, but the resources I am showing you here are always free. So that's a massive 24 GB of memory, 4 ARM-based CPUs, and 200 GB of storage. So, to get that, if I scroll back up, you can see a button labeled Start for Free, which when pressed, starts the registration process. There may be some basic verification processes to complete as part of this sign-up process, as it is just trying to ensure you're a real human, and not an internet bot trying to abuse the offer, by getting many individual accounts, with lots of resources. So, after signing up you will be taken to this webpage, and as you can see at the top of the screen, there is a purple banner explaining that you are currently on the free plan, and unless you specifically upgrade to a paid account, which we are not going to do, you will never be charged. As this topic has generated many questions and comments on other YouTubers' channels, like why do some companies offer these free forever resources etc., I have put a link to one of their question and answer videos in the YouTube description, that hopefully answers any questions you have. I select the option to create a VM instance. I give the instance a name. I move down to the image and shape box, and select edit. I change the image to conical Ubuntu. Then operating system version 20.04, and press the select image button. I change the shape from the default AMD to Ampere. I select the default size and increase it to use all 4 CPUs. A yellow warning box appears, just letting us know we are at the limit of this free account for CPUs now. So we ignore it, and press create. For SSH key we select paste key. At this point I stop and download and install the Windows PuTTY SSH client, importantly from the official website. It includes an application called PuTTY General which is an SSH key generator. So I open that, and generate an SSH key. I then copy the on-screen public key part, and paste it into the website's SSH key box. Before pressing the create button I increase the boot volume size, so it uses all 200 GB. When I do so, I see the yellow warning box again, simply indicating that I am using all 200 GB of space. So, I just ignore it, and press create. At this point, I get an error saying that the data center, also known as an availably domain, does not have the resources available at the moment to satisfy the request. Normally it only takes a few days to restock. But rather than wait, I simply scroll to the top, and change where this server is to be placed, in another data center or availability zone in this region. I then press create, and because this availability zone does have the requested resources, it starts to provision the server. This provisioning can take up to a minute, so in the meantime I return to putty-gen and save the private half of the key, that we will need later to connect to the provisioned server via SSH. Now the server has finished provisioning, we need to let RDP remote control traffic, which is on port 3389, through the Oracle's console-based firewall, through to the instance, as we will be using it in a minute to display its desktop. So, to do that, I select the instance's subnet, then its default security list, to which I add a new ingress rule, with the information you can see me into the on-screen form. And when finished I go back to connect to the instance I have just created. Because as yet I haven't put xrdp and a desktop on it, I open PuTTY, the Windows SSH client. For hostname, I enter Ubuntu, and its sign, followed by the instance's IP address. I then select the SSH, auth tab, and browse to the private part of the SSH key, that I created and saved earlier in putty-gen. This part is optional. I browse to the Appearance tab, and change to a bigger font that is both easier to read, and displays better on this video. Now before I open the connection, I return to the main tab, and then save the settings. Only now do I start the connection. As this is the first time this machine's SSH client has connected to this instance, it just gives a warning. I accept it, and proceed with the connection. On screen you can see my open SSH connection window from a moment ago, and below it the 5 configuration commands that I copied out of the YouTube description. If I zoom into the SSH window, while I cut and paste each, you can more easily see the typical response when each are run. This first command updates the repositories, so they point at the latest version of each module, and then upgrades any out-of-date modules so as to include all known bug fixes and security patches. This second command installs the Ubuntu desktop, the xrdp remote control software, and the Stacer performance graphical monitor which you saw in the introduction, and I have found very useful as it summarizes any instance's CPU, memory and disk usage. This installation command normally runs for 5 or 10 minutes, but through the magic of video editing it will only take a few seconds. All Oracle instances come with a set of iptables firewall rules that block most ports on the instance. But we are already using the console-based firewall for that, and maintaining 2 firewalls can be complex, and I would only normally suggest it when the instance has to be very secure. As a result, to remove this instance's unnecessary extra firewall, that is just adding complexity, this command firstly copies all existing instance iptables firewall rules to a backup file and then truncates the file to 0 size, thereby removing them from when the instance is rebooted. This command removes the policy that causes the annoying and frequent window that appears on the desktop, requesting password authorization to create a color device every 5 minutes. This final command sets the password for the Ubuntu user that we will be using to connect via RDP. It is very important that this password is complex, long, so over 10 characters in length, and not found in a dictionary, to prevent this instance being susceptible to brute force attacks. An example of the password I am using is on screen. And that's all 5 configuration commands completed. All we do now is reboot it to ensure they are all fully in effect. The server is now ready for use. All we have to do now is connect to it. I open the remote desktop connection Windows application, copy and paste the instance's IP address from the Oracle website into the application, enter the username as Ubuntu, tick the box that allows me to save credentials, as unlike the typical XRDP logon screen, the resultant screen will allow me to paste in the complex password. I go to the Resources tab, and ensure only clipboard is ticked. If this video proves popular, I will look at how it can be improved, so local drive mapping also works, but for now it doesn't. I return to the main tab. Here I do have an option to save all these settings in a file, however for now I just connect. I get the complex password, which I have recorded, and proceed to copy and paste it into the credentials window. When connected, I proceed through the welcome screens, onto the main desktop. Where the only change I make is under Settings, Privacy, Lock Screen, where I disable everything. That is because if this instance were to lock, it can be problematic connecting to it. Finally, I find and start the Stacer performance monitor. To prove the instance can see all the CPUs, memory and disk. That's it, the machine is ready for use. On screen you will find a video showing how to deploy a Windows Server 2019 disk image, and below it a video I made showing how I created in Kali Linux VPS from the official Kali ISOs. And if you want to see more videos in the future, like this one, click on the Cloud Tech logo. Thanks for watching.